we win by selling people out. And we're refusing to do that in this campaign. This is a campaign of, by, and for all Texans. And I think people are really tired of these culture war fights that are designed to tear us apart, designed to get us angry. I mean, there are difficult issues. Trying to figure out trans athletes in sports, that's an issue where we could actually come to a policy solution. But instead, politicians like Ken Paxton, they use those difficult issues to rile people up, to divide us, to distract us, in order to win power for themselves. I mean, it's divide and conquer. It's the oldest strategy in the world. And so what we're trying to do in this campaign is bring people together. I've said that the most radical thing you can do in an era of division is unite people. And we're not going to win with the politics of division. We can't win that game. We have to change the game. And I think what's exciting about this campaign is so many people are hungry for that kind of politics of union, of friendship, of love. And people have been so starved of it for so long now. I mean, we've seen what a politics of fear looks like. We've seen what a politics of anger and rage looks like. But it's been a while since politics has made us feel hopeful or excited about the future, or brings us together and creates community. And I think that's what we're building in Texas in this election.
Well, you had a very difficult, very hard-fought primary to get this nomination against Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, and that was a very racially striated result. She had a lot of support from black Texans, and you did not. I mean, Texas has more African-American residents than any other state in the country. Black Democrats are absolutely the backbone of the Texas State Democratic Party. What are you doing to repair any remaining bitterness from that campaign, to reach black Texans, to convince them that you're their candidate too? Yeah,
I want to pick up on something you just said. When I win this seat as the next U.S. Senator from Texas, I'll represent the most African Americans of any senator in the state, in the country. And that work of representing black Texans starts now. It doesn't start the day after the election. And so I've been traveling the whole state. I've been convening private conversations with black business leaders and elected officials and community leaders and faith leaders. I've been visiting black churches and black-owned businesses, appearing on black media throughout the state, particularly our local, Dallas Weekly and Houston Defender, but also podcasts and YouTube shows where, folks are now getting their information and their news. And I've been rolling out policy proposals based on all these conversations that can meet the needs of black Texans. Obviously, there are issues that we all face, right? The rising cost of groceries and gas and housing and childcare and prescription drugs. And then there are issues that black Texans face uniquely. And you think about the maternal mortality crisis in our state that is 3 times deadlier for black women. Harris County, home to Houston, is the deadliest place for a black woman to give birth in the entire country. And so we've rolled out a comprehensive plan to combat that crisis. We've been visiting our HBCUs. We did a town hall at Prairie View and then gave the commencement address at Paul Quinn College in Dallas, the oldest HBCU. We've been talking about how to bring HBCU funding up to parity, because there's a gap in funding between our historically black colleges and universities and similar institutions with a similar percentage of low-income students. And imagine if we actually closed that gap, what our HBCUs in Texas could do. And then we already talked about voting rights. I mean, we have seen the most aggressive attack on black political power since Jim Crow. Gutting of the Voting Rights Act, these racist redistricting maps. And I think the first thing that we have to do, to your point earlier, when we win a Senate majority, our first priority, before we get to housing and healthcare and education, has to be passing the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and guaranteeing that all of our neighbors, particularly our black and brown neighbors, can access their God-given rights at the ballot box.
One last question I want to ask you about, even though I've just been told we're out of time.
No.
Forget it, I'm breaking the rules.
It's your show.
One of the, things that I came across in prepping for today's show was interesting images out of San Antonio from just a few days ago, Friday in San Antonio, where I know you were a middle school teacher.
That's right.
At the very beginning of your career. People protesting there against ICE detention facilities,
Yep.
ICE immigrant prisons. A group of Democratic Texas members of Congress recently toured Dilley,
Yep.
the family detention center in South Texas, and what they found there was shocking in terms of the conditions in which people were held, but they also found things that were just shocking categorically. They said that the youngest person they found incarcerated there was 2 months old. Should Dilley be shut down?
You know, my friend and colleague, Congressman Joaquin Castro, has done a lot of work on this, and he's telling me about the human rights abuses that are happening at Dilley. It has to end, and that can't be on our watch. And this is not the last time, or the first time that we've seen a baby, an infant, being treated this way in Dilley. I am sick to my stomach seeing the abuses that have been committed against our undocumented neighbors in Texas and all over this country. You mentioned that I was a teacher on the west side of San Antonio. I taught a lot of undocumented students. In Houston, we saw ICE murder Lorenzo Salgado, our fellow Texan who had lived in Houston for 35 years. And as a construction worker, he sent his 3 boys to college. His oldest is a public school teacher. His middle son's an engineer. His youngest is still in school. I mean, Lorenzo Salgado embodied the American dream. And the fact that we are spending our limited law enforcement resources on Lorenzo Salgado, on a 2-month-old, those are law enforcement resources that aren't going to actual immigration and customs enforcement. Those resources aren't going to keeping us safe and removing people who actually mean to do us harm, which we should do. Instead, those resources are going to masked men in unmarked vehicles that are terrorizing our communities all over the state. They're going to these detention centers like Dilley. And I think we need a senator from Texas who is going to hold ICE accountable, who's going to end these human rights abuses in these facilities, and who's going to fight for comprehensive immigration reform, finally, so we can stop grandstanding on this issue and actually fix it.
Texas State Representative James Tallarico is the Democratic Party's nominee for the open U.S. Senate seat in Texas this year. It's really nice to meet you. I'm glad to have a chance to talk to you this way. Come back.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Upwork puts the world's best freelance talent right at our fingertips. We need an AI chatbot for customer service. Upwork's AI comes through thousands of freelancers to help match us.
This sounds like the worst. That Upwork and freelance. I'm sorry, Upwork and the gig economy should be like abolished. Like, I'm sorry, that is like it's literally just leading to wage suppression and lack of benefits and massive unemployment. I don't understand like why we support Fiverr and Upwork. What all that does is it ships your job overseas to India or something like that, or the Philippines. Like, Fiverr and Upwork is literally just wage suppression and literally just it should just be abolished. It's anti-American worker. Like, they make it sound like the gig economy is so great for the American worker, but you don't get paid as much, you don't have any benefits, and you have no job stability. That's not a good job. That's literally just like, you know what? That's not even really, that's just like almost like, I don't even know. I'm just kind of like, I hate getting Fiverr and Upwork and stuff like that, because it's just like, dog, how much more displaced and replaced can we make the American worker, from offshore to immigration to the gig economy to AI? They're literally talking about how much can they make the American worker as obsolete as possible while still asking for the American worker's money. Like, they no longer see you as working class. They see you as consuming class. But the problem is, you can't consume anything if you don't have a fucking job. You don't, I don't understand if they know what Keynesian economics is or John Maynard Keynes is, but you really can't have a society of people who don't make any money and expect them to spend money. That's stupid. The whole point of having an import-heavy, service-based economy is that you're not manufacturing, you're not agriculture or mining anything, and your goal is just to reach full employment and then just have a consumer, like, confidence type of society where it's like, okay, like, think about this. If you just, the dog cuts, right? If you have a bunch of workers who are getting paid even just to do very little off of taxpayer dollars, it's better than giving tax breaks to the rich. Because you know why? Tax breaks to the rich does not mean more money in the economy. It means money gets frozen in assets that are never going to be put back into the economy, and it just slows down and contracts the economy even more. Whereas if you had paid those workers out of the doge and you just kept the government the way it was and you didn't give these tax breaks in the big beautiful bill, we would have money for Social Security. We would have money for our people. We wouldn't have expensive groceries. We wouldn't have expensive gas. The Republicans have oversought the worst economy in American history and then want us to like give them a pat on the ass and a good job. Like, so they get a fucking participation trophy for doing a fucking shitty job. I'm sorry, Mike Johnson, Thune, fucking Donald Trump, they don't get a fucking pat on the ass and a participation trophy good job for doing a shitty job in this country. I'm sorry, the Republicans don't get a fucking pat on the ass like some fucking loser that gets a participation trophy. I'm sorry, you're a grown-ass man. You're older than me. You're not getting a fucking participation trophy for doing a fucking shitty job. I don't give a fuck about fucking Thune or Mike Johnson or fucking goddamn Donald Trump or Greg Abbott or fucking Ken Paxton. They're doing shitty jobs. And it fucking shows. The gas prices are at a fucking record high. The grocery prices are at a fucking record high. There's no fucking jobs. We're wage suppressed as fuck. I'm sorry, Donald Trump does not get a fucking pat on the ass and a participation trophy for doing this goddamn shit. He's doing a horrible job. Thune and Mike Johnson with their big beautiful bill have fucking gutted our economy and made this place a fucking shithole. They're doing a horrible job. And I'm sorry, Mike Johnson. I'm sorry, Mike, whatever fucking Thune. You don't get a fucking slap on the ass and a participation trophy for doing a horrible job and creating the worst fucking economy in American history. Ridiculous shit, honestly. It's like they want you to just like, hey, can you give me a pat on the ass and give me my participation trophy for doing a horrible job? And I'm just like, dude, do your fucking job. God damn. The Republicans, since George Bush, have done the shittiest for our economy. We have record levels of inflation. We have record levels of a fucking inequality. We have, like, George Bush led to the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. Literally. The whole Reaganomics stuff and all that led to the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. And it wasn't as bad as Trump. Like, at least like, you know, the Patriot Act was bad. A lot of that stuff in the early 2000s was kind of sketchy, from like the Patriot Act and all that stuff. It's like, okay, that was a Fourth Amendment violation, but like we're past that now. We're kind of like we're in a ballpark where, you know, even the people in the NSA are kind of like, you know what, like we need to watch out for like the Fourth Amendment and the Bill of Rights and you know, stuff like that. You know, I think even people with power like the FBI, CIA, NSA, they understand that there's a Bill of Rights and Constitution. And, you know, we're kind of coming to that point where we're past that post 9/11, like fear mongering, like Islamophobia stuff. And now we're kind of in this ballpark of like, okay, I'm about to hit 30. And I'm about to hit 30, but the other people are older and they're kind of like, oh shit, like, do I really want Fourth Amendment violations? Like, you know, now my children are on social media. Now my children have phones. Do I want the government to be able to hack into their phones and stuff? It's just kind of one of those things, because some people have daughters. You know, imagine if the NSA or FBI or CIA was just like spying on your daughter. I mean, we have Epstein we have Epstein in power. We have Epstein file people type in power. And imagine if they use those type of things to not just spy on people like me who are like potentially terroristic, but the others. I love this guy. It's the guy from he did the Kim Jong-un. He played Kim Jong-un in the interview, but he's a funny dude, man. He actually does some pretty good movies. I gotta load these dishes, man. I was snapping. I was like, I was in here like sick of this shit. But dude, I'm most unsatisfied with this country sometimes. Sometimes I'm just like, I want to go down to Congress. I don't even really want to be there that long. I just want to say like 5 things and then like, just like, all right, I'm out. Fuck all y'all. You know what I mean? Like, type shit. Really just because it's like, dog, you know, like, I feel like it's not even that hard of a job. Like, it really is not. Like, Congress takes more days off than like 90. Like, they are not even at, like, Mike Johnson took like 2 months off. Literally, he took 2 months off of paid time off while the American commoner was starving when they shut down the government. Remember, he took 2 months off and then they fired a bunch of Americans. He took 2 months off. 2 months sitting on his, I'm not doing shit because I'm unemployed, but he was getting paid on taxpayer dollars for 2 months, like 2 or 3 months. He took the entire last summer off. I remember because I was live streaming too, and I was like, they're gonna shut down the government, and like the Republicans are not gonna show up to work. They're gonna take 2 to 3 months off. Literally, Mike Johnson didn't show up to work for 2 to 3 months last year, and we somehow paid him to do fucking nothing but make our lives more fucking unaffordable and unattainable. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm kind of sick of the Congress. I'm kind of sick of the people in power. They take more time off to give you shittier results. Like, the Republicans have been taking time off just to give you shittier results. Like, they don't do anything besides corrupt. And then they barely show up to fucking work, and then they complain that you're not a hard worker. I'm like, dude, like, we got fucking Ted Cruz flying to Cancun every time we got a fucking storm in Texas. We got fucking Ken Paxton flying to London for the fucking 4th of July. This is our fucking country. What are you doing in London on fucking 4th of July? And then on top of that, we got it's just like rampant corruption on all levels of society. And these are taxpayer funded employees. You should not be, I'm sorry. At a regular job, you cannot take 2 months off and then expect your job to just still be there. You cannot just fly to fucking Cancun and not put in any paid time off or ask for any requests from your boss. Most American commoners can't just go fly to Cancun or London on the 4th of July because they want to. No, their job doesn't allow that. They have to put in paid time off, and they might get like 2 weeks a year. The average American worker might get 2 weeks of paid time off a fucking year. And somehow the Congress can get fucking 2 months off and then fire a bunch of American workers who were essential during COVID. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, dude, I'm just sick of this fucking country and this corruption and this just bold-faced, corrupt, just elitism. It's just like snobby elitism, out of touch with the American commoner. I look at these people sometimes and I'm like, you can tell these people just rob the people blind and don't actually give a shit about the American commoner. And it shows. They don't even fucking show up to work. I mean, Mike Johnson took 2 to 3 months off last year while the government was fucking shut down. Nigga couldn't even show up to fucking work. And he was getting paid. I'm not getting paid, and I still show the fuck up for my fucking country. I don't know. I'm just like, it's hard when I'm broke as shit. I'm not even getting paid right now, and I'm just thinking about people in Congress are not even showing up to their fucking job, getting paid time off, fucking doing God knows what, snorting coke off of fucking hookers, tits and shit. Probably, honestly. I mean, I'm not gonna hate. It sounds fun, but like that's not what you get paid to do in this fucking goddamn economy. I'm sorry. Like, if the average American worker can't like get 2 weeks off of paid time off, and they're so essential and and like all this stuff, then the Congress should be held to the same fucking standard as the American worker. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit. If I'm going to be held to a certain standard in a stupid fucking $15 an hour, $18 an hour fucking call center, dead-end sweatshop job, I expect the fucking Congress that's getting paid millions to do their fucking job and make my life just slightly more affordable and attainable in this country. But they don't. They just take fucking money from corporations and super PACs and just reign in corruption and tyranny. And I'm just like, honestly, at some point, I just want to like dissolve this country because it's just ridiculous. And honestly, the Supreme Court's the same fucking way. Supreme Court is full of people who aren't really spending any time with the average American commoner. The Supreme Court is like full of people who really aren't spending time with Americans at all. They don't fucking talk to us. They don't fucking know us. They live in a fucking basement in fucking Washington, D.C. and call that knowing America. They don't fucking know us. They don't fucking go to these cities. They don't even know. The Supreme Court probably doesn't even leave Washington, D.C. And there's a whole fucking country out there. Like, think about this. I'm closer to Mexico City, and I'm closer to the capital of Mexico than I am the capital of the United States. I'm literally closer geographically to the Mexican capital than I am to the United States capital. Just being brutally honest. So do you think that I give a fuck what someone in Washington, D.C. says or does? I kind of see them as like, you don't even fucking live out here, Doug. You're not even fucking... I'm closer to Mexico than I am to you. Like, that's how I see the United States sometimes. I'm like, Doug, I am closer to Mexico City and the capital of Mexico than I am to the fucking capital of this country. And I don't feel like the people who are in charge even know, they're not even really in touch, or like, I feel like they're out of touch with the average day-to-day life of like the American commoner. I don't know. Below this bowl, and then I'll finish these dishes, and I'm gonna beat my cock or something. But all I gotta say is, man, this country, man, like, I can't even put it any other way than that, man. This country's got me emotional. I'm joking.
Let's ride.
You think you can handle this ride?
You tell me. Let's go.
Turn up the resistance. All right, riders. Are you ready for this 45-minute calorie-crushing climb?
Let's ride.
You think you can handle this ride?
You tell me. Let's go.
Turn up the resistance. This is the easy part. Hey, I see some of you slacking out there. Okay, our warm-up is finished. Let's get into the real nitty-gritty. Don't give up on me, you fat fucking piece of shit. Just let everything go. Become one with the bike. Faster, faster, faster. Only 30 minutes left.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Turn up your resistance. Keep going. Keep going.
Still have 22 minutes left.
Oh, God damn it!
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Frankie's Cultural Observations. Today, we're going to be analysing girls that believe in crystals. Girls who believe in crystals, proponents of what's known as the New Age Wellness Movement, which is basically just a code word for self-care yoga sessions, spa days, and basking in motivational quotes about how amazing you are, even though you haven't actually done anything. Girls that believe in crystals say things like, we're spiritual beings having a human experience, even though the closest thing to a human experience they've ever had is posting a picture of the sunrise on Instagram with a caption that says, cultivating an attitude of gratitude, even though they clearly just searched Bali into their web browser and ripped the first picture they found off Google Images. Girls that believe in crystals fetishize the spectacle, and we're pretty sure they have several other fetishes as well. They're only concerned with the appearance of spiritual wellness. The truth about their personal life is totally irrelevant. So long as they appear zen, they can continue to sell you on them as an image of spiritual tranquility, and you'll continue to purchase a place on their expensive mindfulness course, a subject that somehow they're experts on. Somehow. Girls who believe in crystals have bedrooms that stink of burning sage, white witch energy, and the pheromones of their narcissistic ex-boyfriend who stayed over again last night. Girls that believe in crystals read their book of positive affirmations every morning, furiously highlighting keywords in the hopes that some of the esoteric knowledge of the universe might slip into their daily life. Much like the ADHD medication they steal off their sister might slip into their daily skinny flat white with a hazelnut shot that they drink before Reiki every morning. Girls that believe in crystals, the Starbucksification of spirituality, transcendental experience via double espresso and getting your nails done, hon. Girls that believe in crystals listened to Neil deGrasse Tyson on a podcast once talking about how our atoms consist of the same stuff that makes up the solar system. But because girls that believe in crystals are inherently narcissistic, they completely misunderstood what he meant, and they thought Neil deGrasse Tyson was saying, "You're going to be the next big star." Girls that believe in crystals think they light up the room, but really, they just dominate the conversation by not giving anyone else a chance to speak. When they're done talking about the medical healing properties of Thailand, they'll just sit there and pretend to listen to whatever basic horseshit you're spewing, while waiting for the next socially appropriate interval to interrupt you so they can start talking about themselves again. Girls that believe in crystals often own tarot cards, which are far less useful than debit cards and slightly more useful than Pokemon cards. They're mainly for decoration purposes, but they are useful for chopping up lines of ketamine, a substance that girls that believe in crystals seem to use indiscriminately. All they need is a straw and a flat surface. And it turns out everything is a flat surface when you've achieved total karmic balance. Girls that believe in crystals think that poverty and systemic inequality only exists because poor people aren't thinking of enough positive thoughts to level up into a 2-car driveway. If you tell them anything positive that's ever happened in your life, they'll tell you it's just because you manifested it. You obviously didn't work hard to achieve your goals. That'd be far too simple. You just thought about them, and then they happened. Girls that believe in crystals trust the power of manifestation, because all they've ever had to do to achieve their dreams is think about them, and then their parents just buy it for them. Girls that believe in crystals say things like, money's just an energy, even though they don't work and they live off their parents' trust fund. It's hard to hold down a job when you sit around all day setting intentions. Girls that believe in crystals are obsessed with angel numbers, such as 1111, but the only numbers they should be focused on are 0000, insufficient funds. Girls that believe in crystals aren't satisfied with owning their own crystals. They need to discuss it. More importantly, they need to discuss it with you for some reason and talk about why you should own crystals too. Even if you tell them you have absolutely no interest, they'll be undeterred by your rejection, because girls that believe in crystals think they know you better than you know yourself. They're intuitive, which basically just means that they're good at making judgments without any logic or evidence to support their claims. Girls that believe in crystals think everything has to be a healing journey, but the only thing they're really healing from is crossing their legs from sitting down for too long. Girls that believe in crystals are all about improving themselves. If they're not growing spiritually or pretending to have an ego death when they take ayahuasca, then they're just a suburban rich girl with sapphire gemstones and a superiority complex. Girls who believe in crystals struggle to take responsibility for their actions. If they treat you badly, they don't need to apologise for it. It's obviously just because Mercury was in retrograde and the gravitational pull of the moon threw their chakras out of sync, and that's what's making them a bad person.
You have great energy.
Be quiet. I'm going to see if this manifesting stuff actually works. Oh, for fuck's sake. It worked. I don't want this shit.
My crystal!
Stop buying expensive blood glucose test strips and say goodbye to the daily pain of finger pricking. This portable home health monitor simply clips right onto your finger to accurately measure your blood glucose, blood pressure, blood oxygen, and heart rate in just 3 seconds. With an accuracy rate of up to 99.99%.
Check out the sunrise. Now, if a bill moving through Congress becomes law, we could see more late sunrises in the future. That's beautiful.
If passed, it would end the twice.
Takes stones of all shapes and sizes to build a decent nest, and finding ones that are just right is not easy. So some penguins turn to a life of crime. The one who has been robbed seems unaware that the thief is just over his shoulder and looking for more. The thief's nest is coming along nicely, probably because he keeps a particularly sharp lookout for robbers.
Alright, so after receiving a comm from Admiral Quinn to report to Deep Space Nine for assignment, we make our way to the Operations Center, Ops, to speak with Commander Sarish Meena, the Bajoran XO of the station.
My name is Sarish Meena. I hold the rank of Commander in Starfleet. I am the Operations Officer for Deep Space Nine. I also serve informally as a liaison to the Bajoran Militia and the Vedic Assembly. And I'm the subject matter expert on Bajor. Being Bajoran myself, I know the people and have their trust. How can I help you?
I was told to report to you.
Welcome to Deep Space Nine, and thank you for coming so quickly. During the occupation of Bajor, many sacred artifacts were stolen and studied. After the Bajoran-Cardassian Treaty was signed in 2371, these artifacts were supposed to be returned. However, the Obsidian Order, the Cardassian military intelligence branch, opposed the treaty and apparently hid at least some of these artifacts in their warehouses. We know this because we have been contacted by the Cardassian government. There is a faction among the Cardassians called the True Way that rejects the treaty with the Federation. This organization infiltrated a defunct Obsidian Order facility and stole an orb of the prophets. These orbs are precious to our people. They have been given to us by the prophets. They possess mysterious and unusual powers. Many of them grant visions to supplicants. We believe the True Way are operating out of a base in the Badlands. We would like you to travel to the Badlands and attempt to recover the orb on behalf of the Bajoran people. They may even be using some of the Maquis bases that were abandoned before the Cardassian War. We believe that the Badlands are therefore the most likely place for the True Way to be hiding the stolen orb. I know the Badlands are dangerous, but I have complete confidence in the ship and her crew.
So it's important to distinguish the true way from the Cardassian government, which itself has been quite hospitable to the Federation, even if its people seem a bit distant since the Dominion War. The True Way are a remnant of the old guard of Cardassia, supposedly formed out of the remnants of military personnel, hardware and politicians who seek to re-establish their view of the true way for all Cardassians, a way of subjugation of other worlds and aggressive xenophobia. If you're interested, I've done a recent video on the establishment of the True Way and the new democratic Cardassian government, and Garrick's role in setting it all up. It's not necessary for the background of this story arc, as constant revamping of the mission structure has reshaped it to be more focused on Bajor, but it gives you an idea for the current mindset for the Cardassian people. Before we leave DS9, we can pick up several more assignments from Captain James Kurland, the Federation commander of DS9, but these side quests will be addressed later. For these missions, I will be sticking with the USS Dunkirk for special assignment into the Badlands, as opposed to the USS Armiger. In my head, the Armiger is ill-equipped for an extended operation in the Badlands, so the